Corsair dropped this brand new budget-friendly gaming headset. It's called the HS55 Stereo, and I always like to see stuff that's more on the affordable side because not every gamer has stacks of cash to throw at gaming stuff. This thing's got a standard 3.5mm connector right here, so that means it's going to work on pretty much anything with a 3.5mm jack. That's PC, mobile, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, Mac, you name it. As long as it's got that 3.5mm jack, this thing's going to work on it. Since we're talking about the connector here, let's take a quick look at the cable that they gave us here. It's 1.8 meters long, which is not bad. It's a decent length, and it's just plain rubber, no braided fiber, nothing like that. Pretty basic standard cable right here. But the good news is its connection here at the ear cup is actually pretty solid. When I throw this thing on the scale, without the cord, it comes in around 250 grams, and I think that's a nice weight. It doesn't feel too heavy on my head when I'm wearing it. Now, since this is supposed to be more of an affordable option, it's not surprising that we're getting an entirely plastic build here. The only place I found any metal or anything that's not plastic is if you slide the headband arch out, you have this inner core here. That's actually metal, which is good to see, but everything else, just plastic. But that said, it is a pretty solid feeling build, so I don't feel any looseness, any like wiggling, or anything that feels like it's gonna just fall apart or anything like that. And there's a nice stiffness here on the hinges when you rotate them around here. They don't just go flopping around everywhere like some other headsets that are out there, which I think is nice. And it does kind of feel like it's a little bit more premium that way, at least in my opinion. In terms of adjustment, we got the usual pivot back and forth on the ear cup there, and then they can also rotate all the way into a lay flat position, which is nice for like storing and when you put them down and stuff like that. And then if you look over here on the headband, if you pull that stuff out, they do lock into position nicely. The only problem is there's no markings on there to let you know, if you've got them lined up properly on both sides. So you're just gonna have to do everything by eye. I personally like to have markings on there so that I can make quick adjustments without having to pay too much attention and kind of line them up or whatever, right? But hey, it is what it is. Cushions are nice, soft, plush memory foam, and they're thick enough to actually keep the driver completely away from my ear. And I think my ears stick out a little bit, and I never felt them touching the inside of the driver at all during any time when I was playing with this headset. And that's a good thing, because that type of situation can get uncomfortable pretty quickly. Contact surfaces are pleather all the way around, and actually even on the inside. I'm not the biggest fan of that material. It tends to get hot and sweaty. It's not the most comfortable in my opinion. I like cloth better, but to be fair, it's an affordable headset, and that's a very common material on budget-oriented headsets. Actually, it's even on some mid to high-end ones, so, it's really not the end of the world. Underneath the headband, we got the same memory foam cushioning there, very nice, soft, and plush again, and again, more of that pleather material up there as well. Now, even though it's stiff and feels like the clamping force would be on the higher end, it's surprisingly comfortable, and I didn't really notice too much clamping or any discomfort or anything over long periods of time. I was actually thrown off by how comfortable it is because, I don't know, it's kind of deceiving. I didn't think it was going to be that comfortable, but I wore it for some pretty long hardcore gaming sessions and no problems at all as far as comfort goes. There's not much on here in terms of controls. All we have is on the back of the left ear cup here, there's a simple volume control wheel. You can crank it up or you can turn it down, and that's it. It's not like some of those wireless headsets that you see with all kinds of different effects and Bluetooth buttons and settings and all that sort of stuff. Nice, simple, clean design, and I like that. The microphone on here is fixed to the headset, so don't go reefing on it thinking it's removable, because it's not, and you're probably just gonna break it. It's your basic flip to mute mic, flip it up and you're muted, pull it down and you're live. Now, it is really long. You can probably tell that just from me hanging onto the headset here. It sticks out pretty far, and normally I don't like that because it can get into my field of view and I find it distracting. But one good thing that this thing has going for it is it's actually flexible and it kind of stays wherever you put it. So you can bend it in or you can kind of pull it away and find kind of a curve, if you will, that sort of keeps it out of your peripheral vision the best that you can. I was able to get it in a position where it didn't really bother me, so, despite the fact that it's super long, I think overall it's going to be okay. All right, this is the official microphone test for the Corsair HS55 Stereo Gaming Headset. You see the mic right here? It's recording me right now live, right onto the computer behind me, and I'm going to take this file when I'm done and drop it right into the video without any enhancements, without any audio editing or special effects or anything like that. So what you hear is what you can expect to get with this headset. For me personally, I actually think it's pretty good. It's more clear than I was expecting for a headset in this class at this price point, so that's a good thing. The only problem though is that I find it really quiet. In order to get the audio levels that you're hearing right now, I actually had to turn on some microphone boost, and that means it's going to pick up background noise and add a little bit of static and stuff like that. It's too bad, because otherwise I think we would have had an absolute stellar microphone that would have beat out pretty much most of the competition. So, it is an affordable headset, and I don't know, maybe it is just my copy or something something like that, because I have heard that this headset is like, you know, super good in terms of the microphone department. Or maybe I'm just too picky. I'm not really sure. You tell me down in the comments. If the microphone's that good, the big question I have now is how's the sound coming out of the drivers on here? Well, Corsair threw in some large diameter 50mm drivers, and they've got a standard frequency response of 20 to 20,000, and that's common. You see that on a lot of headsets. Overall, I think they sound pretty good, but as soon as I put them on, I could tell right away that Corsair tuned them and pushed the sound profile towards the high end, probably to bring out the fine details that you want to hear when you're gaming, like footsteps, weapon reloads, doors opening and closing, and all that sort of stuff. And it's a gaming headset, so I think that makes perfect sense. The problem is, a lot of times when you tune something like that, it comes at the expense of the low end or the bass, so, you know, big explosions and stuff might not sound quite as epic. But with this one, they actually did a pretty good job at balancing that out, as far as I can tell anyway. So you do have some bass there. It's definitely not as punchy as some other gaming headsets out there, but I think the combination of, you know, pulling out the details with the highs and then still having a little bit of bass to back that up, overall it sounds pretty good. And because it's not completely skewed towards the high end or the low end, it actually still sounds pretty good for like normal stuff, listening to music, watching videos, and just, you know, basic things like that. So it's nice to be able to have a well-rounded headset like that, where it's going to be able to perform well in games, but at the same time, it is still useful as a regular everyday headset if you want to use it like that. I really like what Corsair did with this HS55 Stereo Gaming Headset overall. Like, they tried to make a headset that was going to be on the affordable side, and they did that without having to compromise on any one thing too much. Yeah, it's an all plastic build, but you know what? It feels solid. And yeah, they took the sound profile and pushed it more towards the high end, but they managed to do that without completely killing the bass. And the microphone overall, I think, is actually pretty good considering the price point of this headset. So I think it's a pretty easy one to recommend. I'm going to throw the purchasing links, the specs, the details, and all that good stuff in the description. Make sure you check it out if you're interested, and leave us a comment and tell us what you think overall about this headset. Are you thinking of picking it up? Do you think it's worth the money? All that stuff. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out, and we'll see you in the next one.